Yeah, I think first they see themselves as able. They see themselves as able, they see themselves as agile, and they see themselves as simple to their clients, right? They bring out products that are so simple that everybody finds it, easy to use, and you don't have to call them to ask how do I log on to M-Pesa, for example.
I would call Stanbic Bank a cultured bank because you know what you're doing. The products are straightforward, easy to follow. The staff are well trained. The outreach is what you need to work on.
If someone calls me from China, which I get like 10 calls in a day, and say, I'm selling this product and this is the best price I can offer you and I can give you A, B, C, D. But I'm never going to be able to give that person across the phone an order or even send an advance payment because that supply is not verified. But the bank has that credibility to verify a client.
I think there's a lot of conviction, right? What the last 2 years have shown post-COVID is that a lot is possible, right? If we put our minds to it, if we do it early, because if we are talking about 13 billion, we are already in March. So the plan for 13 billion should already be in motion, right? So the things that we need to do them early. And if it's clients that we need to bring on board, we need to bring them on board early. If there are things that pertain to clients that will allow us to have bigger wallet share, we need to give them priority and we need to do them now.
We have a set of rules for the customer-facing teams and a different set of rules for the back office teams, to the extent that the customer belongs to the customer-facing teams and it's their problem to get the customer sorted. Provided I'm within my SLA and the documented TAT, I'm fine. So you fit into my SLA. And we need to work together. We need to avoid this SLA TAT jargon to then come and say, if it's digging a hole, are we all digging the hole and throwing the dirt out? Or is one person digging the hole, throwing the dirt out, and the other person pushing the dirt back to the hole?
So integral and fundamental to how we build on our culture is one of passion for what we do. But not only that, each one of us need to be responsible and accountable to delivery. We need to elevate candor within our workspaces, be able to call out each other but support each other constructively where we fall short and where there are gaps.
For innovation to work well in an institution, the kind of culture that will support that innovative approach to things is slightly different. You've got to be more patient. You've got to be more, should be willing to allow mistakes to happen.
Often a growth target can limit your understanding of of the growth that exists. Because if you target 30%, you'll want to achieve 30%. But really, who says the opportunity set that exists out there in the market is 30%? It could be 50%, it could be 100%. So really, I sleep on a question that says, how do I triple and how do I double, how I triple the business? And the reality is that I have seen it happen. And I do believe that the collective that we have, the institutional capacity, excellence, product sets that we have, the well-defined client segments that we have, are all a confluence of a perfect recipe to achieve that growth.
I think what comes into my head is about creativity. We have to be creative because you can imagine when you entered, the first bank you saw is our competitor, GTB. So how do we overcome them? How do we make the customers pass those doors and come to our door? We just need to give excellent customer experience. By doing that, all those customers will be jumping those doors and they'll enter Stanbic Bank.
We've used customer first as a cliche. So people say customer first, but then you ask them, what is this that we need to do to be customer first? So I think it's about how do we place ourselves in the customer's shoes to the extent that if it were done to you, you'll feel happy.
Sometimes you can have a very good strategy, but fail because of the environment in which you are operating in. And sometimes it's because we do not have the tools to be able to enable the carrier of the strategy to succeed. And I think it becomes a very delicate environment within which you have got to work to be able to implement a strategy. And if you do not know how to handle the various stakeholders in the kind of picture I've painted, you're unlikely to succeed in your strategy.
You can't afford to sit back and say we will be here until we find this new huge opportunity. And the other thing is, in organic growth, some people would see it as buying a bank. It might come from the left of center. It might be something totally different that leapfrogs us into the number one space. So I think we've got to keep motoring on and do what we do fairly, what's the phrase? Not try and grow it. When I use the phrase inorganic, not the usual single high digit growth, that's fine, but let's try and break the mold a little. Scare us. I think the one thing I tell the top leadership of Stanbic is, whatever you do, understand your consumer. I'm not absolutely convinced that we do. Spend time, put resources, understand your consumer, and especially the younger ones who are coming into the fold. We're a very young country, and I always say that a big chunk of your total revenues should be coming from initiatives launched in the last 3 to 5 years. If not, you're dealing with people like me who won't be around much longer.
When we talk about culture, really we need all our staff to work as a unified bank. We need to work as a unified bank. We need to hold Steve accountable, Titus accountable for what they do. If I'm in charge of arrears in the bank, I need to deliver. You're in charge of whatever you do, you need to deliver. So I think in terms of culture, we need to hold each and every person accountable.